So this is our second example. In the second example, we will do the same task that we did in our first example. In our first example, using hybrid inheritance, we have added two numbers. Okay, we have added this two number. These two variables were one was declared in public class A and another was declared in public class C. So what we did, we from our derived class, that is D, we have added this 2 and printed the result. So the result was 14 here, the sum of 4 and the sum of 10. Now we will, in this case, all the variables are public. Okay, so they could be easily accessed, but now we will complicate this a little bit. So this is our first class. Okay, we have a class called arithmetic. So in our first class, we have this protected variables, member variables. Okay, we have number 1 and number 2, and then we have a public function that is called get data. So what it does in the get data function, we have, like, it asks you to enter the first number and enter the second number and store this number to these two protected variables. So we have two protected variables, and we have a function called get data that takes input, and after taking input it stores the result in these two protected variables. Then we have a class function called a plus. Okay, so in this, this is actually inherited from arithmetic class. That means all this code, that is two variables and this get data function, they're already here. Okay, so what extra we do, we call another sum function. Okay, and then we have added a add function that actually adds this to number 1 and number 2. Now even though in this class, this class a plus, okay, there is no declaration of number 1 and number 2, but by the property of inheritance, we already now know that whenever we inherited arithmetic class, these variables and this function get data, they are now available in this one as well. So from a plus, we can easily access number 1 and number 2. That is, you have to remember that whenever we do a public inheritance, the visual mode is public, the informations that we have here, the public and the protected, they are also available here. Okay, so this is our a plus class. Then we have another class called a minus. Okay, and that a minus is not inherited by anyone, so this is a protected class with n1, n2 and diff, three member variables. And in this one, in this sub function, okay, we just ask for enter the first number, enter the second number, and we do the subtraction. So the, and then finally we have the result class where we can inherit from the plus class and the minus class, and then we call a display function. And in this display function, we print the result of the sum and we print the result of the difference. Now, I know this code looks a little bit different, but if you look closely, this is the same code as this one. We had a class A where we have declared a member variable. In this one, we have a class arithmetic where we have declared protected variables and a function get data. From this arithmetic class, we have inherited and added another class, that is plus. From this A, we have inherited uh, and created another class. So class B is inherited from A and we have added a constructor. In this one, we have added a constructor. In this one, we have added a sum function, that is add, and we have added a variable. So it doesn't matter how many things you add, it's just that you can do it. Okay. Then in this one, class C, it was actually same as, it was not inherited. Class C had a public member and a public constructor. So in this one, this is also same as well. In a minus class, we have these three protected variables, n1, n2 and difference. We have the sub function that actually, the sum function that actually takes input two numbers and it finds out the difference, subtraction. Finally, we have created another class, that is result class, that inherits a plus and a minus, both classes. Same way here, what we have done, we have created a D class that inherits class C and class B. So same thing, you see, public class a plus and minus. And then here we have written another function, display, that just displays the result. So anyway, without talking into any details, let's come to the main function. So in the main function, we have result Z. Yes, we have created an object of this class. After that, we're calling z.getData. Now, that's what it gets interesting. In the z, okay, as this is the object of the result class, we already have a getData function. How did you get the getData function? Because we have inherited a plus, and in the a plus, this is inherited from arithmetic, and basically it has the getData function. So to answer the question again, the get data function that I'm calling is in this result class. Why? Where it is? Because it is inheriting public a plus, and in the public a plus we have this public arithmetic inheritance, and public inheritance has a get data. So that is actually at first you will be complicated because the informations are coming from different directions. Okay, but the idea is that whenever you use inheritance, the code will be transferred or code will be copied to the inherited or the derived class. So that's how we get the get data. Then z.add, where does this add came from? Again, it inherited public class a plus, and the a plus we have this add function. Then we have this z.sub, so we have inherited this a minus class as well, you see, public a minus, so we have this sub function as well. So is this dot sub, and finally z dot display. So in this one, what we do, we not only access the functions, we also access the number one, number two. So these are the variables, right? Now, finally, we return zero. Let's run the program and see what happens. So first, for addition, okay, so enter the first number. So that means the object was created, result z. So z is our object. Z is calling z dot get data, and this get data function, okay, it's coming from where? Yes, this one. So first, you see it prints for addition. Let me just do a little bit for addition from arithmetic class. Thus it will be easy for you to understand. See, that is the program. Even though the object is from z, it is coming here. So let's assume the first number is 50. Then that's for the second number. Let's assume the second number is 20. Now after taking input, is going to z dot add function. So in this add function, what we're doing, we're adding these two numbers, so the summation is done. And after that, we go to the sub function. In the sub, what we have here, this one. For subtraction, we first enter a number. Let's assume 5, and let's add another number, that is 2. Now you see, then it is calling the display function. So what the display function does, okay, the display function, it prints the sum of the two number that we have given input is 70, and the difference of two number is 3. So it basically prints the output. So showing the output was not our main target. Our target was to show that this display function can access the protected members or protected variables of the previous two classes, parent classes. Now, lastly, in one line, this, if I sum up this example or the hybrid inheritance, that in this case, okay, if one class is inherited by another class, just in this case, you see, public class A, let's go for simple example. Public class B inherited by public class A. In that case, an object of B can access, public and protected members of the A class. Same way, whenever a public class D inherits public class C and B, that means any functions, especially any public functions and protected functions you had, so they can be used by object of class D. So object of class D can use any public or private members or functions of class C and class B. That's it. So this is our second example. So you can see the code. The code looks a little bit huge, but this is almost similar to the concept that we are practicing in from example 1 and example 2. Now let me first go through the code. Okay, let's show you what happens when I run the program. So it basically prints the informations of a certain person. Okay, it starts with the normal information like roll number 40, subject marks in each subject. Okay, then subject mark in subject 1 he got 20, subject 2 he got 35, subject 3 got 90. The some marks he got in sports is 64. So total marks including subject mark and sports mark is 208. So he's printing the total mark. Same goes for another student, roll number 50. Okay, and for this fourth subject he's printing the marks, and then total he's calculating the total marks. So very simple program, right? Just a student id. For each student id I'm storing the mark of the different subject, and then we're printing the total. Very simple. Now no complicacy at all. Now, let's say, okay, that why it's important to use the inheritance here. So first let us see the classes. We have a class student. Okay, and in the student class we have a protected member called roll number. Okay, so it only stores the roll number. Then in this roll number, okay, we can use set roll number. So we are adding more functions which sets the value. We can print the roll number. So this is a set function and get function. That's it. Then we have another class that is called subject. That is a inherited class from student. So in the subject class, what we have three subjects: subject 1, subject 2, and subject 3. For each of this subject, what we can do, we can use a set subject mark and we can print subject mark. So you have these two options, set function and get function for the data. Remember that this is inherited from a student class. Now, there's one question that I have asked you before, that whenever we are using the inheritance, we are using a easy relationship. Now, dog, we especially whenever we're inheriting dog, we can say the dog is an animal. So we can inherit from the animal class. So in this one, can we say a subject is a student? The answer is no. Then still we are using the inheritance. So what's the catch here? So I will discuss it in the next class, but let's first focus here, the matter at hand. So then we have the set function and the get function. Then we have another class that is a sports class. Okay. Now in this sports class, you can see, okay, we have this protected variables sports. We have the set function and the get function. And finally, we have the overall result, that is a function that gets inherited by public subject and public sports. And then it does the overall result by adding the total marks, then summarize, averaging by 3. So to what I wanted to show you, no, we have seen a very simple program that there's a class A inheriting class B, a class C inheriting then a class D. It doesn't make any sense. It seems like, sir, why you were doing all this? You can just normally write a program and do this on one simple function. Same goes for this one. You see, when I'm adding this two number, I'm dividing it in a two class, a plus, a minus, then we're doing the operations. But now if you see this, you will actually get the idea like what we have done so far. So if I start with the first example, class A is basically the same as class student. Here we have declared a protected variable, same way we have did in this class, arithmetic class, and we have created a set function and the get function. Then what we did after that, we have uh, inherited, derived the class B by from public A. Same way we have derived the class, where is it, yeah, we have derived the class subject from public student. So what we did here, we did the same thing here, but the difference is in the public we have three variables, subject 1 2 3, and they have the set function and the get function. Okay, and after that we have another class, class sports. Same way we had another class, class C. Okay, and in this sports we had like sports mark, get function and set function. And finally, okay, what we did here, we have combined a new class, class D, from C and B. That means we combine this C class and we combine this B class. So here as well we have an overall sports that combines public subject and public sports. So public sports, that is this one, and public subject, that is this one. So we are combining, just like here we we combine B and C. Here we are combining subject and sports. And then overall we have just written some functions, we call that function, okay, and then finally prints the output. So this is a very simple example of hybrid inheritance. This is a little bit advanced, but same example of hybrid inheritance, and this is a real life example of hybrid inheritance. That in real life scenario, if you make a project like this where you work with the student result processing system, okay, you can use this actual hybrid inheritance. So let's see the main program. First, let me run it. Oh, I have already run it. So first, what we do, we create an object of overall result stu. Now, student class of overall result. So this one, okay. So we have created an object of this class overall result, and after that, uh, we use a set roll number. Okay, so set roll number. This is a function of this student class, but the variables that we declared are actually overall class. So same way what we did here, you see, we have created an object of class D, but from this object of class D we could call the sum function, okay, because sum was a part of this function. That was okay. Come here, from we have created an object of class Z, that means this class, but from here we have called the get data function. That means get data function was here. Same way what we did, we created an object of overall result, and then we have called the set roll, and then we can call the other functions as well. So finally it's done. So whenever you're studying the topic, first start with this simple example, try to understand how it works, and then look at this example, okay, see the functions, and then see the real life example, that why we actually implement the hybrid inheritance.